Isabella Guzman ditangkap oleh polisi. Dia didakwa pembunuhan tingkat 1 atas kematian ibunya. Dalam persidangan, Isabella dan timnya mengaku tidak bersalah karena masalah kejiwaan. Dari kejiwaan Isabella diperiksa mendalam oleh psikiater, dan psikiater ini bilang kalau Isabella kemungkinan mengidap paranoid schizofrenia. Dr. Richard Pounds yang menangani Isabella saat itu bilang bahwa jelas terlihat tanda-tanda halusinasi dalam diri Isabella, pandangannya kosong, dia suka tertawa sendiri, dan juga berbicara sama seseorang yang sebenarnya nggak ada di sana. Pada hari kejadian, katanya Isabella itu yakin kalau ibunya adalah makhluk jahat yang harus dibunuh untuk menyelamatkan dunia. Jaksa penuntut tentunya tetap mencari hukuman terberat untuk Isabella Guzman, yaitu hukuman mati. Tapi pada tahun 2014 pengadilan menerima pengakuan tidak bersalah Isabella karena masalah kejiwaan, dan akhirnya Isabella Guzman dinyatakan tidak bersalah atas kematian ibunya. Bukannya dimasukkan ke penjara, Isabella justru dimasukkan ke rumah sakit jiwa di daerah Pueblo, Colorado. Jaksa penuntut dalam kasus ini mengakui kalau ini pertama kali dia melihat ada seseorang menusuk sebegitu banyak. Lalu dia bilang seperti ini, tapi sistem hukum kita adalah sistem yang tidak hanya penuh dengan hukuman atau kurungan, tapi juga terikat pada keadilan, dan Anda harus melihat komponen ini, yaitu kesehatan mental.
I grew up in a wonderful home with two dedicated and loving parents, one of 5 brothers and sisters. A home where we as children were the focus of my parents' lives, where we regularly attended church. We had 2 Christian parents who did not drink, they did not smoke, there was no gambling, there was no physical abuse or fighting in the home. Basically, I was a normal person. I wasn't some guy hanging out at bars or a bum. I wasn't a pervert in the sense that, people look at somebody and say, I know there's something wrong with them, and just tell. I mean, I was essentially a normal person. I had good friends. I led a normal life, except for this one small but very potent and very destructive segment of it that I kept very secret, very close to myself, and didn't let anybody know about it. And part of the shock and horror for my dear friends and family years ago when I was first arrested was that there was no clue. They looked at me and they looked at the all-American boy. And it happened in stages, gradually. It doesn't necessarily, not to me at least, happen overnight. My experience with, I'd say, pornography generally, but with pornography that deals on a violent level with the sexuality, is that once you become addicted to it, and I look at this as a kind of addiction, like an addiction, you keep craving something which is harder, something which gives you a greater sense of excitement, until you reach the point where the pornography only goes so far. You reach that jumping off point where you begin to wonder if maybe actually doing it will give you that which is beyond just reading about it or looking at it. Listen, I'm no social scientist, and I haven't done a survey. I mean, I don't pretend that I know what John Q. Citizen thinks about this. But I've lived in prison for a long time now. And I've met a lot of men who were motivated to commit violence just like me. And without exception, every one of them was deeply involved in pornography, without question, without exception, deeply influenced and consumed by an addiction to pornography. There's no question about it. The FBI's own study on serial homicide shows that the most common interest among serial killers is pornography. Are not some kinds of inherent monsters. We are your sons and we are your husbands. And we grew up in regular families. And pornography can reach out and snatch a kid out of any house today. He snatched me out of my home. They snatched me out of my home 20, 30 years ago. And as diligent as my parents were, and they were diligent in protecting their children, and as good a Christian home as we had, and we had a wonderful Christian home, there is no protection against the kinds of influences that are loose in the society that tolerates.
You have a unique diagnosis of having dissociative identity disorder. A lot of people know that as multiple personality disorder. When were you diagnosed with it?
I was diagnosed, I think I was it was like 22 or 23.
Okay. And what led to the actual diagnosis?
I started having a lot of amnesia feelings, which a lot of people are, they could think of as a normal thing. You forget what you have for breakfast the day before. And it just became so big that things were happening. It's really hard to explain until you're actually like kind of going through it. That I was seeing therapists regularly, and it was just a diagnosis that ended up happening.
So you're having these events in your life where you Monday morning wake up and you can't remember what you did over the weekend. And Wednesday at night you're going to bed and you're thinking, what did I do this morning? What did I have to eat? And you don't think too much of it because people forget stuff. But then after 22, 23 years of this, you're seeing a therapist, and finally the therapist says, look, you have dissociative identity disorder.
Yes, but I've been seeing therapists even before then. But it ended up coming out that, yeah, that's what it was.
And when you're in Cena talking to me right now.
Yes.
But you have 11 other alters that you can go into. Can you tell me about each one of those?
So I can tell you about, basically I have 5 primary alters, which are the ones that I, if I'm gonna switch, I switch into them very regularly. And I have one that I usually, in the past, I would switch into almost every single day.
Every day?
Every single day.
And how long did you switch into that person?
So she would come out for hours at a time and sometimes for days at a time.
But did this go on for months, years, days?
This was like years, absolutely, yeah.
So let's talk about her.
Okay, so it's gonna sound kind of weird. So basically, let me start from the beginning a little bit. So people with DID, they get it by having traumatic, reoccurring childhood experiences that were just like unavoidable, and it's repetitive usually. So it's a lot of like, just different kinds of harming things that are happening to these people that are just super traumatic.
And you're saying, from your understanding, it's not just something that occurs once, but something that's occurring more regularly.
Yeah, it's absolutely more repetitive. It's stuff that's absolutely reoccurring. And people with DID, they get it around the ages of like newborn to around 6 to 7 years old. So you can't get DID after that time. So to kind of describe it, everybody starts out with multiple personalities, if you can kind of imagine that. And then as you get older, your personalities come into one person. If you've experienced trauma, reoccurring trauma as a child, usually before that age, those ages, your personalities stay split. And as a child, these traumatic experiences are going to create these different personalities and these different alters, if you will. And basically, they're what you're taking from around you. So some people will have alters that are like animals. Some people will have alters that are completely like non-living things like rocks.
Baru 19 Oktober yang lalu aku buat seminar. Kita mengangkat tentang kesehatan mental, dan untuk pertama kalinya aku ngomongin semua all my struggles that I've been going through in life. Dan sejak saat itu aku jadi aktif untuk membahas tentang pentingnya kesehatan mental. Karena aku dari umur 13 tahun itu aku ngumpulin uang sendiri, karena aku udah ada uang jajan ya, karena aku udah syuting dan lain-lain. Aku ngumpulin uang sendiri, terus aku izin sendiri kalau kasih syuting kayak gue jam segini sampai jam segini aku harus pergi ya. Terus ngumpet-ngumpet dari lokasi, ngumpet-ngumpet dari orang tua aku juga. Aku pergi ke psikolog.
Papa mama belum tahu ya?
Papaku sama mamaku belum tahu juga.
Oh, belum tahu. Oke.
Jadi aku masih ngumpet-ngumpet karena aku masih mikir, itulah salahnya aku mikir orang tua aku masih terjebak di stigma bahwa kayak ke psikolog adalah ya emang ngapain ke psikolog, emang orang gila gitu. Ternyata tidak pada saat aku ceritain. Cuma dari umur 13 tahun aku coba cari psikolog sendiri. Aku cari ke beberapa 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dan semuanya bilang kayak oh iya kamu bipolar, oh kamu post traumatic syndrome, oh kamu multiple personality disorder dan lain-lain. Sampai akhirnya aku nggak ngerasa aku seperti itu. Jadi aku ngerasa kayak nggak ada alasan yang bisa bikin gue ngerasa sesedih dan sedepresi ini gitu loh.
Tapi ternyata
beberapa tahun kemudian dibalik itu
konklusinya
adalah aku mengidap borderline personality disorder.
Apa itu borderline personality disorder? Mungkin bisa buat berguna untuk kita semua. Mungkin
borderline personality disorder itu adalah bahasa Indonesia kepribadian ambang. Jadi aku punya self image yang gak stabil. Aku bisa kayak mau sesuatu, hari ini aku pengen sesuatu, tapi besok tiba-tiba aku kayak I change my mind gini-gini. Tapi ya semua orang kayak gitu ya, semua orang
sebenarnya begitu basicnya.
Cuma sebenarnya
ini labil tingkat tinggi.
Ya, labilnya tingkat tinggi.
Sampai
self
terpikirkan,
self image-nya, terus apa yang diinginkan dalam hidupnya, terus hubungan ketika aku punya pasangan juga sulit sekali gitu, karena aku bener-bener unstable secara emosional. Terus aku ngerasa kekosongan terus di hati aku yang aku nggak bisa isi dengan siapapun gitu loh, dengan siapapun, dengan apapun tuh kayak nggak pernah bisa terfulfill. Terus depres, sering banget mencoba untuk bunuh diri dari umur 13.
Jadi gue didiagnosa pertama kali bipolar disorder tuh 2009. Nah gue lebih ke denial, kayak nggak mau terima. Gue nggak mau terima kenyataan kalau gue punya mental illness. Dan itu sampai 4 tahun. Gue inget banget kayaknya keluarga gue udah lebih dulu nerima. Sementara gue kayak yang masih kadang-kadang, mestinya kan kalau udah didiagnosa ketemu dokter tuh rutin, sebulan sekali, 2 minggu sekali. Nah itu gue sering tuh nggak datang ke dokter gue. Jadi gue suka nggak stabil. Terus kayak nyokap gue suka ngirimin email kayak newsletter tentang edukasi bipolar disorder, nggak ada yang pernah gue buka. Karena gue ngerasa kayak yang gue alamin dulu kan, gue kan syuting dari kecil kan, terus gue sekolah. Jadi in a way, jujur gue ngerasa kayak gue ini kuat, gue ini sehat, gue bisa semuanya, dan gue berenergi. I'm a superwoman, sumpah. Dulu gue ngerasa gitu. Tiba-tiba gue dikasih tahu, "Woi, lo punya mental illness lo punya bipolar disorder." Gue kayak, "Hah? Gue punya mental illness, gue punya penyakit jiwa." Itu kayak nggak mau terima, ngerti kan betapa beratnya itu bisa gue terima.
Psikiater gue bilang, ya itu termasuk dalam OCD, cuman masih banyak lagi mental illness yang sebenarnya kamu alamin, tapi saya juga belum tahu dan kamu harus mengalami beberapa terapi. Dan ini
adalah harapan setiap wanita. Saat ini tubuh kurus dianggap sebagai syarat mutlak kecantikan. Fenomena ini diperkuat dengan sejumlah iklan yang selalu menggunakan wanita bertubuh langsing. Kondisi ini membuat masyarakat, terutama para remaja, mudah terpengaruh hingga menempuh cara ekstrim untuk menurunkan berat badan hingga menyebabkan anoreksia. Anoreksia adalah satu masalah kesehatan di mana pengidapnya terobsesi untuk memiliki tubuh kurus dan sangat takut jika terlihat gemuk. Untuk membuat tubuh mereka tetap kurus, penderita anoreksia akan berusaha keras membatasi porsi makan seminimal mungkin dan berolahraga secara berlebihan. Beberapa dari mereka bahkan akan berusaha memuntahkan kembali makanan yang telah dikonsumsi. Penderita anoreksia akan terus merasa gemuk walau bobot tubuhnya sudah di bawah standar. Dan jika tidak ditangani secara cepat, maka akan berakibat fatal.
It's like one of those felt cute might delete later posts, except for it's more like I feel really, really, really sad, so I might delete it later posts. I know you all think I'm very, very selfish among other things, because of my channel and what I do, but I just want to let you know that I'm not completely selfish, because if I was, I would just be dead. But I know that would hurt a lot of people, so I'm not that selfish, so I'm not gonna kill myself. And just like a lot of other times that this community has made me feel this way, I'm still here, so I'm not that selfish, because if I was, I would just be dead. So there's that for you.
다 너무 모두가 다 그냥 도움이 필요했던 것 같아요.
Musik.